calm and uneventful in terms of the activities of this commission. So I see Ben has a guest attendee here. Let's start with the key performance report for the month of April, which picks up where we left off last time. And I'm looking at, for paramedic intercepts, a number of priority 1 requests, 81, priority 2, 15, priority 1 within the parameters, all of them, 100%. Priority 2, 14 out of the 15 requests were within the mandated time frame. So that is a 93% compliance. So both of those are acceptable. Looking at the transporting ambulance requests, we have 71 priority 1 requests. 5 were not within the mandated time frame, which gives us a compliance rate of 93%. Priority 2, 29, 28 of them within the time frame, so 97%. So both acceptable standards. Do I hear any discussion or questions from the commission on these? Hearing none, let's proceed. I'm looking at the May report. Paramedic intercepts, priority 1, 71 requests, 71 within the time frame, 100% compliance. Priority 2, 14 out of 15 within the standard, 93% compliance. Again, both within our standards. I note the median response time, by the way, for priority 1 is 5 minutes and 8 seconds, which is pretty consistent. So that remains good. Transporting ambulance requests, priority 1, 61 out of 71 within the standard at 88% compliance. That is below the standard of 90%. We'll need to look into that. Priority 2, 16 out of 19, 84%, which is within the standard. I see some comments down below, and we have no attendees here from AMR tonight, and I'll have to find out why, because I was expecting Tim to be here. But there were 3 comments, 2 of them for life-threatening emergencies, which would be priority 1 ambulance requests. And I saw one that says second active call in town that may possibly require or comply or fall within the allowable exceptions within our contract. That needs investigation. And the second one is a life-threatening emergency, no cars available, car sent from cut off. Again, we need to investigate that.
I have one question on the life-threatening emergencies. Most important was that second active call was the patient well stabilized.
Okay, let's make a note of that. I assume that would apply to both of them, wouldn't it, Dr. Davidson?
Well, you have 2 people with an active call, which means where is our medic? Is he at both places, or what did they do? If you have 2 active calls, should be a paramedic at both places. Chief will have his people there, but
Well, I think looking only at this document and the information contained within it, we're saying that for paramedic intercepts, 71 out of 71 responses occurred within time, with a median response of 5.08 minutes. So I think we can probably assume, although we do need verification, that the paramedic was on scene waiting for the ambulance to arrive.
Right.
But the question about the patient being stabilized is a good one. And in the question to AMR about these exceptions, were they in fact allowable contractual exceptions or not? And if they were considered, would that put them above the threshold? That is a question that does need investigation. Any other questions from the commission members?
Am I interpreting this correctly? So these exceptions that are enumerated here or expanded upon, those were for transporting ambulance.
These are both transporting ambulance requests.
Okay.
They have put in a column that identified the priority levels. So the first one, non-life threatening, priority 2. The other 2, priority 1.
Mhm.
And in both of those, one, the response was 21 minutes, 26 seconds. The other was 29 minutes, 42 seconds for reasons partially enumerated in this. Hey,
Okay.
Kathy, when you send these out to us, what does the original report look like when you receive it from AMR?
Well, I print it right from what he gives me.
So are these entries on the right-hand column here, are they cut off on what you received from him?
Let me check. Let me grab one.
Yeah.
Let me look that up.
Well, so then I think Dr. Davidson's question is the natural one. This is
Sure.
an ambulance that needs to transport.
Yes, I bet. No. I'm in the next month, July month, but
We're looking at May right now.
yeah, let me grab it. I gotta unlock it. Hold on.
Yeah. They're life-threatening emergencies that once the patient is stabilized, as we all know, an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes really doesn't matter. But it could be desperate if it were something important, cardiac or whatever.
Agreed. Yeah, I think what Kathy's getting, I'm not sure if it's an Excel or some other file. And then she's printing these to PDF and sending it to us. So
Yeah,
it
it's
may,
Excel. I gotta pull it up because right now I've locked it so well. Hold on.
it may be worth seeing these in the original unredacted form. Maybe redacted is not the right term, but we're not seeing the whole entry in that column.
Unabridged. At any rate, I think a fuller explanation will come from our AMR representatives.
Yeah, we will put a written request in for a response to this to investigate. Let's continue while we're waiting for Kathy here. I have the June report on my screen here now. For the paramedic intercepts, priority 1 request 81, 100% compliance with the standard. Median response time 5.37 minutes. Priority 2, 16 requests, all within the standard 100% response compliance. Transporting ambulance. Priority 1 requests, we had 73 out of 78 within the standard, so that gives them 92% within the standard. Priority 2, we had 24 out of 29, which is 82%, again within the standard. We do have 3 priority 2 exceptions noted. I am not concerned about those. I'll leave it to the members to decide if you have any questions about those.
The only question I have is just sort of a comment or a reminder, which is that I think we've asked in the past for any transports that don't meet the standard, just to get a brief one-liner, because there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason for why we get 3 out of the 10,
Yeah. I think they're using 20 minutes as a threshold for their responses on these. That seems to be the common denominator. They're all over that 20-minute mark.
I see.
So that's how they're screening those out of there.
I see.
But, I would like to formulate some questions to AMR. First, why aren't they here tonight? And secondly, on some of the detail they're giving us on these things, particularly on the May report, 2 priority 1 requests with really not enough information for us to determine if they were in fact allowable exceptions under the contractual terms. I gave you all the sections of the contracts at prior meetings. I don't know if you still have those handy, but you should have those somewhere in your information. If you need it again, I'll be happy to resend it. And there are specific items where they do have an exception to the standard if those conditions exist. So that's what we're looking for here. If we have no further questions on June, let's take a look at July. And for July, I'm looking at 85 out of, well, that's interesting. Apparently we had 86 requests and 85 were within the standard. So I'm not sure how we get 100%, but either way, it would have been better than the 90% rate. 24 priority 2 requests for the paramedic intercepts, 100% compliant on that. And again, back to about a 5-minute, 3-second response time. So still good on that. The priority 1 transporting ambulance requests, I see 79 out of 87, which gives us a 91% compliance rate. And since I have my calculator handy, I'd like to know if 79 out of 87 is 91%, then it is. Mathematical suspicion, pardon me for that. Priority to request, 30. 28 of the 30 were within the standard, so good compliance there.
I just have one comment. We all know how long it takes to get from Yale New Haven and Hospital of St. Raphael's to the middle of Woodbridge. And if the car is coming out of these places, we know it's going to be 20 minutes.
Yes.
I don't know what we do about it, but I think it's just as soon as you see Yale New Haven or HSR, you know it's going to be out of compliance.
Yeah, I understand. You're right. We've talked about this in the past here too. They do station some of their units different places, but depending upon the volume of calls they have, they may not have somebody respondable. Here's Tim joining us now.
He is on the phone. I just got him to come into the meeting.
Tim, can you hear us? Is he unmuted, Kathy?
I just had it. I hit the thing that says request unmute for him. This is not easy.
Hmm.
Let me see. He sent me an email. Hold on. I made him a panelist. Don't know.
Now he's gone.
I don't
Back
know
to
why. I
July.
had him unlocked, so
See if we can get him back, Kath. Back to July. Any comments or questions about that report? Okay, hearing none. So what I'm getting from this is the only month in which we had an exception to the standard was in May, and that was to the priority 1 ambulance responses. So we will have to investigate that. Are there any other questions that the members would have? Marvin, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You were discussing the timing. In my experience, it takes a shorter time from Woodbridge to go to the Griffin Hospital than the hospitals in New Haven. In fact, if you count the red lights, one, I'm counting 2. I mean, there are only about 3 red lights all the way in the back way.
Yeah, I think the time that we're measuring here is the time it takes from the ambulance to reach the site of the call from the place where it was dispatched from. So once that dispatch comes in to the ambulance, clock starts ticking until it reports it's arrived on scene. That's what we're measuring. So it's not the transport per se, it's the arrival of the ambulance. Do we all understand that to be the same thing?
Wait, I still don't understand. Our contract doesn't say the patients of Woodbridge have to go to Yale, do they?
No, patients can direct.
Hello,
They have preference.
I
Tim, are
didn't
you
hear-
there?
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm actually in Woodbridge because I thought we were actually having a meeting in person. And I got here, there's nobody here. So I've been trying to get unmuted for this thing.
Well, sorry for the miscommunication on that, Tim, but thanks for coming anyway. Sorry we couldn't have seen you in person.
I
We
would love
have,
to see you guys in person.
What's that?
I would love to see you guys in person too. It's been a while. I thought what the plan was. So I'm actually standing in your parking lot trying to get onto WebEx and get unmuted. So, yeah, I pretty much listened to all your questions. I could go through them again if you want.
Well, I guess the main one, just to recap, because that's the one we spent the most time on, and I'll allow the commission to weigh in if they have other questions. But on the May report, we had a total of 71 priority one transporting ambulance requests. 61 you're reporting you were within the standard, 10 you were with not. And of those 10, you identified 2 priority one calls over 20 minutes. One, we have a partial note, which we can't read the whole thing. It said second active call in town, car, something, something. And the other one says no cars available, car sent from something, something. So maybe you could elaborate if you know about those.
Yes. So I actually wrote down notes before I came here. So the first one was the second active call in Woodbridge. The Woodbridge medic was here. Woodbridge medic never left. That was the second ambulance that left here. So I believe they came back from one of the other hospitals to do that patient. That patient ended up being a priority 2. I know we're not supposed to discuss HIPAA or anything like that, but the car shouldn't probably even come up here priority 1. It was a simple shoulder injury.
Okay.
The other one where we had no cars available was somebody that was in the woods. They also went priority 2. That was probably something else that shouldn't have been a priority 1 call.
Okay. So if I understand you, you've got them categorized here on this report as priority 1, but you're saying they were in fact priority 2.
Well, they might have started out priority 1, but somewhere along the way they were knocked down to a priority 2.
Okay.
I'm just saying, so the shoulder was remained as a priority 1. I personally think that the car should have been reduced to a priority 2. There's no reason to be going lights and siren for a shoulder injury when you already have a highest level medic there that could do pain management if that was the case.
Mm-hmm. The other question that came up from one of the commission members was the medic on scene for both of these cases? Were the patients?
Yes, they were. Yeah, so when they said the second call, it was the second ambulance that was being transported out. It wasn't the medic. The medic was here for both calls.
Okay. Okay. On these reports, it seems to me the threshold you're using to give us these details here is a 20-minute or longer response time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way we could reduce that a little bit so we get maybe more information on some of these calls?
Reduce it to what?
15 minutes?
That's not a problem. We could do that.
Again, you've heard me and other members of the commission express concern that there are a lot of calls that you're categorizing as non-compliant with the standard in terms of time of response that would fall under the contractual exceptions And yet we're not finding ways to see enough information or detail to know which those are, or if they might in fact fall within the exception. So for example, in this May report, you're showing 10 priority one transport requests where you weren't compliant, and that puts you out of compliance with the standard. Maybe that's correct. Maybe you in fact were in compliance, but we're not seeing enough information to make that judgment. So we're looking for
Okay.
some help to get that information.
Yeah. We do that. I mean, so it's a fine line with, I don't know, HIPAA. We don't want to know what the patient's outcome or what the patient's care was, do you?
No. We don't need information about the patient per se. We just need to know the details of the response. I mean, the responses are mass casualty, traffic. There are a couple of other things in the contract which you know as well as I do. You can look at. They have nothing to
Right.
do with the medical information of the patient. We're not looking for that at all. We're just looking about the
Correct.
facts on the ground in terms of what your responders were dealing with in responding to these calls here. And if they fell within those contractual allowable exceptions.
Right. I mean, I could probably blame traffic on every single one of them, but I don't want to do that. I want to give you an honest answer of why.
Yeah. Well, it's not just traffic. I think there was a little bit more exclusive wording than that, but yeah, I'd refer you
Right.
back to the wording of the contract with the exceptions and again to the members. If you don't have that, I'll be happy to resend it to you. We should all have that in front of us here. Any other questions for Tim from the members? Okay. That concludes the reports. Can I hear a motion from somebody to accept these reports?
So moved.
Ben moves, second. Dr. Davidson, not Dr. Holland. Pick one, Kathy.
Oliver, go ahead. You're young.
Oliver, you got it.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I say, okay, good. Thank you very much. Okay. Thanks, Tim. Hey, Chief, can you give us a rundown on your piece here?
Hold on.
I think you're muted.
He's muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I certainly can. So in April, we had 24 motor vehicle accidents, 5 of which resulted in both the fire department and the paramedic responding simultaneously.
Okay.
And 2 of those are pretty serious. One, and in fact, they were both kind of back to back. One was a rollover with someone pinned underneath the vehicle on Rimmon Road. And then while they were at that call, shortly thereafter, on the other end of town, all the way up at Route 69 by the Bethany line, vehicle was traveling southbound and exploded. There was a gas cylinder in the trunk area that exploded and ignited the car, and the gentleman there sustained some serious injuries, including some amputation and a loss of an eye as well. But between police and the fire and the EMS, everybody worked well and were able to cover both calls, and they went off without incident. And in May, we had 23 total accidents, 6 with the joint response between the fire department and the medic. 12 in June, but there were no responses, joint responses between the 2 agencies. And 18 crashes in July, and 5 of which both the medic and the fire department responded. And nothing to report. Everything, no problems. Everything went smoothly.
No issues between the medic and the fire department? Things went smoothly?
No problems were brought to our attention. So,
Okay.
all good.
Perfect. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Alan, you have a question?
Yes, to the chief. Was that a propane tank that exploded?
It was a the tank that it was a guy who was a plumber, I believe. So it was whatever type gas that was.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. And the
Oh,
state
wow.
police was actually taking a lead on the explosion part of that because I think they've had a similar incident at the other end of the state. So that they're looking into. But it was accidental for sure.
Right, but you know, people don't understand these. This is the Hindenburg Zeppelin that can really take off. And I've seen people take their propane containers and just throw them in the back seat and keep on driving. And you want to say, "Oh my God," and at least put a seatbelt on it or something.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else from the members?
I still didn't get an answer. Can a patient request that the ambulance take them to the Griffin Hospital?
Tim, you still here for that?
Yeah, the patient could go wherever they want. But we also have sponsor hospital protocols we have to follow. So if you were having a stroke or a chest pain, I would think you'd probably want to go to Yale for a stroke alert, or if you need a cardiac cath. But other than that, we'll take you to whatever hospital you want to go to.
So that would be from Woodbridge, that would be Yale, St. Raphael campus, Griffin, VA, where else?
Middlesex, Bridgeport,
You
St.
go that
Vincent.
far?
Yeah, we'll take you anywhere you want to go. If you're stable, we'll take you wherever you want to go. I mean, if you got a shoulder injury or leg injury, it's not a priority. I'm just recommending that if you're having a stroke and you need to get into a place for the medication quickly to get rid of the clot, or if you need a cath right away, I think I would probably want to go to the nearest hospital that could deal with that and not take a ride all the way out to St. Vincent's.
Okay. Marvin, that answer your question?
Tim, it's Ben, Cherry. You mentioned sponsored hospital protocols. Can you tell me more about that? I'm not familiar with that term.
So all the medics in New Haven County work underneath a doctor, Dr. Joseph, at Yale Hospital, and they call it sponsor hospital, where all the training goes on, where all the policies are made. They do a lot of teaching there. They're the one who sets the policies, the protocols, and that's what the paramedics have to follow.
Okay, so it's not just a matter of preference. I mean, I think you were being just conversational, but if somebody is having symptoms, it's not a matter of choice, right? You take them to a stroke center.
I'm sorry, you're broken up.
Sorry, if somebody's having stroke symptoms or, acute chest pain that seems cardiac, you take them to a hospital. I mean, if they say they want to come to whatever, if they want to go to Griffin, you say, well, we're taking you to Yale. Is that accurate?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm not sure what Griffin actually does as far as cardiac or stroke alerts. I know they've grown in the last several years. I know Bridgeport and St. Vincent's does, but I don't know if you want to travel that far. I mean, getting on a cath table is like, you should get there as quick as you possibly can. And there's another program, I'm not sure if you know about it, called the Triple C. Is actually a dispatch center inside of Yale, where we have an AMR employee that works there, and they coordinate between Yale and St. Raphael's who's got a cath lab open, who's got a bed open, So before we leave a scene, especially in Woodbridge, if we're going back to New Haven, we call there and say, where do you want the patient brought to? And the patient might say, I want to go to St. Raphael's, but the Triple C is saying they'll bring the patient to Yale because St. Raphael's is overpacked right now. They're overjammed. They got a long wait. The cath lab is not open, and vice versa. If somebody wants to go to Yale, they might say, no, we recommend you go to St. Raphael's right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the ultimate decision is of the patient, whichever hospital they want to go to.
But not under certain circumstances. That's just what I'm trying to understand. And maybe that's written down somewhere, right? Because if somebody's having acute stroke I don't think you just take them to the nearest place, or if they say they want to go to Bellevue, you don't drive them down there, right? So I'm just wondering what
Correct.
the rule is.
Correct. Correct. So the severity of the patient, where we're going to go. Like I said, if it's a simple bellyache, a broken foot or something like that, you want to go to St. Vincent's because you like St. Vincent's, we'll bring you there. You want to go to Griffin, we'll bring you there. If you're just been shot and there's some serious bleeding going out, Sponsor Hospital's protocol is going to say you're going to go to a trauma center, which is going to be
Got it.
Yale.
Got it. Great. That's what I was worried about. Thank you. Thank you.
When I get back to the office tomorrow, I'll get a copy of the protocols and I'll send them off to you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And why don't you send them to Kathy and she can share them with all of us?
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you. Anything else from the members? Okay, I have no new business to propose unless anybody else wants to bring something up.
Hey, Roy, I had something I just want to share with the commission, and then Tim might be able to follow up, I'm sure, a little bit on it. So just so everybody knows, back in June, over the last year, the town had done a major radio improvement, and we went to a simulcast radio system for police, fire, and EMS and public works as well. And the last step of that was completed in June, and that's when it transferred over from we went from an analog system, and then it converted over to digital to make it more effective and to gain the most coverage. That was the goal, and that was the plan. And when they made that conversion in June, it was determined that we found out that we lost communication with AMR because their radios apparently are not digital compatible. They're only analog. So, we're able to overcome that. They're using our portable now, one of our portables from the PD that we've loaned to them until they can make arrangements to get some new radios. And I did speak with Tim. I spoke with John McFarland the other day, the end of last week, to see where they were at. He said that to the best of his knowledge, he knew that they were on order. So everything's working well, but just want to make the commission aware, everybody aware that they're working off of our portable until they get those radios all set up. Is that pretty much correct, Tim?
Yeah. So, Chief, yes, we do have the radio. So we do have the radio. It is in. Naturally, everybody's on vacation, so we're waiting to get it over to your radio people to have them programmed.
All right, perfect. Thanks. That's good. Just so everybody knows. But we haven't had any problems with it, so everybody made it work, and all's good.
So Chief, Tim, is this something we'll need to hear about again at the next meeting 3 months from now, or do you think this will be resolved by then?
Oh, it definitely should be resolved by then. I just emailed the IT guy that's handling it on Friday, and it came up I'm on vacation. So as soon as he gets back, I'm going to push him. We have the radio. It's just got to get programmed.
Okay.
And we can't, our radio guy can't program it. It's got to go to the place where Woodbridge uses so that they get
Correct.
all their.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you guys are on top of this then. Any other questions from members? Well, we have no new business and we have concluded old business here. So unless anybody has anything else to bring forward, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Don't be shy, folks.
Well, I'm standing in your parking lot if anybody wants to come over and visit.
I will move to adjourn.
Dr. Cherry moves to adjourn. Second, please.
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you all very much. Sorry for the technology glitches here and poor communication, Tim. We'll do better next time with that.